Hello and welcome guys, and welcome to this session of the MCQs. And yes, we have been continuing our MCQs for past few sessions now, and we have dealt with more than 100 MCQs. And in this session also, let's discuss the MCQs on law and ethics. We are currently dealing with Contract Act. Subsequently, we'll be dealing with other acts as well. So let's start MCQ number 111. A minor's liability for necessaries supplied to him arises after he attains his majority age, is against only minor's property, does not arise at all, arises if a minor promises for it. Guys, the answer is B. It is only against the minor's property. So whatever minor's property is, whatever minor's estate is, you can recover this particular amount which you have spent on necessities of particular minor. Then you can recover these necessities from the estate of that minor. So answer is B. So let's see question number 113. Which of the following statement is true? You have to tell which of the following statement is true. A contract with a minor is voidable at the option of the minor. So contract is voidable at the option of the minor. No guys, this is not true, because any contract with the minor is void. Next, an agreement with minor can be ratified after his attaining the maturity. Guys, ratified means approved. So can a minor approve a contract which has been entered with him when he attains majority? Answer is no. That is also incorrect. A person who is usually of unsound mind cannot enter into contract when he is of sound mind. This is also incorrect, guys, because a person who is usually of unsound mind can enter into a contract when he is of sound mind. So if a person faces unsound mind as well as sound mind, then he can enter into a contract when he has sound mind. So this is also incorrect. D. A person who is usually of sound mind cannot enter into a contract when he is of unsound mind. This is absolutely correct. This statement is true, guys. So the answer is D. So a person who is usually of sound mind cannot enter into contract when he is of unsound mind. So you have to take care that when one person is of unsound mind, at that point of time, he should not be entering into any contract. When consent of both parties is given by mistake, so there is a bilateral mistake. This is example of a bilateral mistake. When consent of both the parties is given by mistake, the contract is A, void, B, valid, C, voidable, D, illegal. Answer is A. It's void. Guys, bilateral mistakes means both of the parties were at mistake with respect to the object of that particular contract. So this kind of contract is void. Question number 115. The contract is void on account of bilateral mistake of fact. But if there is mistake, only one party, if one party is at mistake, then the contract is void, it is valid, it is voidable, or it is illegal. So guys, the contract is void on account of bilateral mistake of fact. So if both the parties are mistaken, then that contract is void for sure. We have seen in question number 115 also. But if there is a mistake of only one party, which means it is a unilateral mistake, then the contract is, guys, the contract is valid. Correct answer is B. So if only one of the parties is at mistake, then this contract is neither void nor voidable. It is a valid contract. A contract made by mistake about Indian law. A contract made by mistake about Indian law is void, valid, voidable, illegal. Guys, it is valid. Why? What is the principle? Principle is ignorance of law is no excuse. You cannot say that, oh, I didn't know the law, that's why I entered into the law, mistakenly entered into this particular contract. You cannot say this. You have to abide by the law. You have to execute that contract as per the law. You have to do it. So it's valid. A contract made by mistake about some foreign law is, so whenever you are mistaking in a foreign law, then it is treated as mistake of fact. Remember? Yes, sir. So if the contract is done by mistake of fact, then guys, the contract is void, undoubtedly. So bilateral mistake, mistake of fact, the contract is void. Answer is A. A mistake as to law not in force in India has the effect as, so if there is a law which is not in force in India, which means a foreign law, and you have done a mistake in that foreign law, then that is treated as, of course, a mistake of fact. That will not be treated as mistake of law, it will be treated as mistake of fact, and all the repercussions, all the ramifications which are resulting in a mistake of fact, that will be applicable to this particular contract. Yes sir, we remember. So answer is A. Okay sir, next question. In case of innocent misrepresentation means when you were not aware about the true facts and still you represented about a fact which was wrong, contract becomes voidable and damages are payable. Contract becomes voidable and damages are not payable. Contract becomes valid and damages are payable. Contract remain valid and damages are not payable. Guys, the answer is B. The contract becomes voidable but damages are not payable in this situation. Why? Because misrepresentation was done due to innocence. It was not done deliberately. So whenever the misrepresentation is happening deliberately, then damages are paid. Otherwise damages are not paid. So the correct answer is B. Yes sir. In case of willful misrepresentation or fraud, A. Contract becomes voidable and damages are payable. Contracts become voidable and damages are not payable. Contract become void and damages are not payable. Contract becomes void and damages are payable. Guys, the right answer is A. Number 1, contract becomes voidable at the option of the aggrieved party, and then damages will also be payable because the misrepresentation was willful or it was an intentional fraud. So the correct answer is A. Yes sir. Question number 121. Consent is not said to be free when it is caused by coercion, undue influence, fraud, all of the above. Sir, needless to say, all of the above. So 121, answer is D. 122. When the consent of a party is obtained by fraud, the contract is void, voidable, valid, or the fourth answer is illegal. Guys, when the consent is obtained by fraud, then the contract is voidable at the option of aggrieved party. The contract doesn't automatically becomes invalid. For that matter, any misrepresentation, any coercion, any undue influence, if the contract is obtained by any of the these measures, then that contract becomes voidable and not void. Yes sir, we remember. 123. Moral pressure is involved in case of coercion, undue influence, misrepresentation, fraud. Moral pressure, guys, is present in case of undue influence. Undue influence means moral pressure. When you pressurize someone, when you influence someone because of your superior position or your superior situation, then you are covered under the section of moral pressure, which is undue influence. So the answer is B. Question 124. Which of the following statement is true? You have to tell that which one of them is true, rest will be false. A. Threat to commit suicide does not amount to coercion. Guys, this is incorrect. We have already studied. Even if you threat to commit suicide, that is also coercion. You are threatening someone to commit suicide, that is coercion. B. Undue influence involves use of physical pressure. No sir, undue influence doesn't involve physical pressure. That is coercion. Undue influence only involve moral or mental pressure. So B is also incorrect. C. Ignorance of law is no excuse. Perfect sir. C is the correct answer. C is absolutely true. So naturally D will also be untrue. Silence always amounts to fraud. Sir, this is incorrect. Sometimes silence doesn't amount to fraud. So the correct answer is C. Yes sir. An agreement is void if it is opposed to public policy. Yes, an agreement is void if it is against the public interest. It is against public policy. Yes, that is true. Which of the following is not covered under the head of public policy? Number 1, trading with enemy. Sir, covered under public policy. Trafficking in public offences. Sir, covered in public policy. Marriage broker contract, covered under public policy. Contract to do impossible acts. Sir, this is not covered under public policy. Contract to do impossible act is a separate exclusion from the valid contract list. It is not covered under public policy. This is not public policy. So the correct answer is D. Which of the following is not covered under head of public policy? Contract to do impossible task is not covered under the head of public policy. Okay, sir. 126. Wagering means wagering. Wagering is a contract which is dependent on a future uncertain event. Okay, sir. Wagering means betting, bidding, both A and B. None of the above. Sir, it is betting. Betting is wagering, which is dependent on some future uncertain event. Bidding is to bid for something, to have a price for something. It is not dependent on certain uncertain future event. But yes, betting is dependent on some future uncertain event. So the answer is A. Question 127. An agreement in restraint of marriage, that is agreement preventing a person from marrying, is valid, voidable, void, contingent. Sir, absolutely void. It is a specific exclusion given in the Contract Act that if you agree with someone to not to marry someone else, that agreement is void. So the correct answer is C. Yes, sir, we remember. An agreement in restraint of marriage is valid in case of following persons. So where would an agreement in restraint of marriage be valid? Under what circumstances will agreement to not to marry will be valid? Let's see. Minor, educated, married, none of the above. So the answer is minor. In case of a minor, if you agree to not to marry that minor with someone, that will be a valid contract because minor is not eligible to get married. So the answer is A. Okay, sir. Question number 129. In India, wagering agreements are void except in, you have to tell in which state is wagering agreement valid. Kanpur, Mumbai, Delhi, none of the above. Guys, the right answer is Mumbai. In Mumbai, wagering agreements are valid, and rest of the country wagering agreements are not valid. So the answer is B. Okay, sir. Then question 130. Basis of quasi-contractual relationship is. So what is a quasi-contractual relationship? Sir, quasi-contractual relationship means it's a contract which is like a contract, which is similar to contract, but not exactly a contract. Yes, that is a quasi-judicial contract. So the basis of quasi-contractual relationship is the A. Existence of valid contract between the parties. B. Prevention of unjust enrichment at expense of others. C. Provision contained in section 10 of the Contract Act. B. Existence of valid contract between the party. So guys, the right answer is prevention of unjust enrichment at expense of others. So the basic criteria of a quasi-judicial contract is that we have to protect people's interest in enriching someone else's, in enriching on behalf of someone else and getting away with it. That is how the evolution of quasi-contractual agreements happen. So I'll give you an example. Quasi-contractual agreement will happen in such a way that suppose if I agree to sell the property of Mr. A without knowledge of Mr. A to Mr. B, and I take advance from Mr. B. That property doesn't belong to me, that belongs to Mr. A, but I promise Mr. B that I will sell this property of Mr. A to you. I also take some advance. Tomorrow I will not be refrained from saying that okay, so this is property doesn't belong to me, so it is not my property. I will be held responsible for that particular contract. I will have to pay damages if I don't transfer that property from Mr. A to Mr. B. I will have to return the money which I have taken from Mr. B. All the repercussions would be levied on me as if my contract was a valid contract. This is a quasi-judicial contract. So a quasi-judicial contract is based on the premise that no one should be allowed to enrich himself at the expense of someone else. Question number 131. A contingent contract is. So a contingent contract is a contract which is dependent on a future uncertain event. Yes, sir, we remember. So a contingent contract is void, voidable, valid, illegal. Sir, very much valid. Contingent contract is a valid contract. If it's dependent on a future uncertain event, so what? It is a valid contract. But the consideration should not be contingent. Consideration should be fixed. The event of the contract or the performance of the contract may be contingent, but the consideration should be fixed. So it's a valid contract. Answer is C. Okay, sir. Question number 132. A contract is said to be discharged or terminated when rights and obligations are completed, when the contract becomes voidable. Both A and B, none of the above. Sir, the right answer is A. Because if the contract becomes voidable, then it's not complete. Unless and until rights and obligations are fulfilled from both the parties' end, guys, the contract will not be fulfilled. So, a contract is discharged only when the rights and obligations are fulfilled. So, the correct answer is A. Next. Which is not the mode of discharge of a contract? So, out of these, which one is not a mode of discharge of a contract? Number 1. Performance of contract, sir, it is mode of discharge. Lapse of time, it is a mode of discharge. Breach of contract, it is a mode of discharge. Injunction, sir, this is not a mode of discharge. This is actually forcing someone to do something. When you force someone to do something, it doesn't automatically mean that the contract is discharged. Only when that other party does that thing, then the contract becomes discharged. So guys, you need to understand these technical words very, very minutely. Injunction means forcing someone to do something. Unless and until he does that thing, the contract will not be discharged. So the correct answer is D. Injunction. Okay, sir. A person finds certain goods belonging to some other person. Finder of goods. A person finds certain goods belonging to some other person. In such a case, the finder A becomes the owner of that good. Does he become the owner of that good? Finder of good. Number 2, is under a duty to trace the real owner. Yes, sir, he is under a duty to trace the real owner. Can sell the goods if true owner is not found. Yes, sir, he can sell the goods if true owner is not found. So what is incorrect? A is incorrect. He doesn't automatically become the owner of the goods. But yes, he is under a duty to find the real owner and he can sell the goods if true owner is not found. So the correct answer is D, both A and B. Both B and C. That is the correct answer. Yes, sir. Question number 135. If a contract, the time lapses and if the party fails to perform the contract within the specified time, the contract becomes voidable, void, illegal, enforceable in law. Sir, the contract becomes voidable. If time lapses and one of the parties fails to perform the contract, then the contract becomes voidable at the option of the aggrieved party. Aggrieved party will decide whether it wants to continue with the contract or whether it wants to end the contract. So it becomes a voidable contract. So the correct answer is A. Yes, sir. Next, 136. Change in one or more of the important terms in the contract is the case of novation, recession, remission, alteration. Sir, the right answer is alteration. Answer is D. If you change the terms of the contract, then the concept is known as alteration. You have altered the contract. Question number 137. In both the cases, devolution of joint liabilities and devolution of joint rights. If a promisor dies, who will perform on behalf of him? Number 1, other promisor. B, his legal representative. C, both A and B. D, none of the above. Guys, the answer is both A and B. So in case of joint liability, in case of a contract being entered into by two persons with one person, if one of the two persons dies, then the liability of performing the contract vests with the other person or the legal representative of the person who's died. So the correct answer is C, both A and B. Okay, sir. Question number 138. A contract which is impossible to perform. It is impossible to perform. I want to fetch the stars, the moon. Is voidable, void, illegal, enforceable? Quickly, guys. Void. Yes, that is the correct answer. That agreement is void. Absolutely. Next. A party entitled to rescind the contract loses the remedy. A party who's entitled to rescind the contract loses the remedy, means this remedy will not be available to him, which means he will not be allowed to rescind the contract, where he has ratified the contract, where the third party has acquired right in good faith, contract is not separable, or all of the above. Answer is all of the above. Guys, in all these situations, the person will be not allowed to rescind the contract. A, if he has ratified the contract, he's approved the contract. B, he has acquired the right in good faith. He has acquired this right of rescinding the contract in good faith. Contract is not separable. The contract is attached with some other contract, collateral contract, and it is not separable, and therefore the right of rescinding the contract will be lost. So the answer is all of the above. Okay, sir. Question 140. The special damages, that is damages which arises due to some special or unusual circumstances, are not recoverable altogether. Second, are illegal, being positive in nature. C, cannot be claimed as a matter of right. Can be claimed as a matter of right. So guys, what are these special damages? These special damages are damages which arises due to some special or unusual circumstances. Guys, such damages are not claimable as a matter of right. If other party can give you those damages, it's okay. If it cannot, you will not be entitled to such damages. Only those damages which are arising in the normal course of the contract, those will be eligible to be recovered by the aggrieved party. Special damages are not recovered as a matter of right by the aggrieved party. So the correct answer is C. Okay, sir. Question 141. Which of the following statement is correct? You have to tell which of the following statement is correct. Ordinary damages are recoverable. So ordinary damages are recoverable. B, special damages are recoverable only if parties know about them. C, remote or indirect damages are not recoverable. D, all of the above. So guys, A is of course true. Ordinary damages are of course recoverable as a matter of right. B is also true, that special damages are recoverable only if parties know about them. Both the parties have agreed in writing about them, then only special damages are recoverable. Remote or indirect damages are not recoverable. This is also true. So the correct answer is all of these. All of the three statements are correct. Answer is D. Yes, sir. 142. Exemplary damages are not awarded in such case. So in what cases are exemplary damages not awarded? Breach of promise to marry. B, wrongful dishonor and customer's check by banker. C, breach of any business contract. D, none of the above. Guys, the correct answer is C, breach of any business contract. Exemplary damages are damages which are over and above the normal damages, and these damages are only claimable in case of business contracts. Strict commercial contracts are eligible to be claiming the exemplary damages. This is what we have studied. So the correct answer is C. Yes, sir. 143. Damages which the contracting parties fixed at the time of contract in case of breach are A, unliquidated damages, B, liquidated damages, C, nominal, D, none of the above. Guys, the answer is liquidated damages. So damages which both the parties agree at the time of entering into the contract upfront, those damages are known as liquidated damages. So the correct answer is B. Okay, sir. 144. Order of court restraining a person from doing a particular act. It's the case of, so restraining someone from doing a particular act, that is the case of A, specific performance, B, injunction, C, both A and B, D, none of the above. So guys, it is injunction. When the court restrains other party to do something, then that is known as injunction. Okay, sir. Next. Under Indian Contract Act, the contract of indemnity is restricted to such cases: A, where the loss promise to be reimbursed is caused by conduct of promisor or any other person. B, the loss caused by any event or accident which does not depend on conduct of any person? Both A and B, none of the above. The answer is B. So guys, indemnity is restricted to such case. Indemnity means you will recuperate the loss which has happened to the aggrieved party. The indemnity is restricted to what kind of contracts? Where the loss caused by any event or accident which does not depend on conduct of any person. The loss happens without dependency on any of the person. That kind of a loss is eligible to be indemnified under the Indian Contract Act. The loss which is dependent on conduct of any party, that is not recoverable as per the Indian Contract Act. Yes, sir. So the answer is B. 146. An agency may also arise by. So you have to tell what are the sources of creating a principal to agent relationship. Estoppel, B, necessity, C, ratification, D, all of the above. Guys, all of the above. You can create an agent by way of estoppel. Estoppel means you claim to be someone's agent but you are not. Estoppel. Then necessity. Some necessary, at some point in time you were necessarily required to become an agent without any specific agreement. At that point in time you become an agent. Ratification, if subsequently, initially you claim to be an agent but you were not, but subsequently the principal ratified or approved your agency, then that also becomes agency. So the correct answer is all of the above. Okay sir, got the point. MCQ 147. A mercantile agent employed to sell goods, an agent who is employed to sell goods which have been placed in his possession or contract to buy goods for his principal. So a mercantile agent employed to sell goods which have been placed in his possession to buy goods for his principal. A, factors. B, brokers. C, creditor agent. D, auctioneers. So what kind of an agent is he? He is actually entrusted with the goods which the principal wants him to sell. Those agents are known as factors. These are known as principal factors. Okay sir. So answer is A. 148. The threat to commit suicide amounts to. So if you are threatening someone to commit suicide, what does it amount to? Coercion, undue influence, misrepresentation, fraud. Sir, coercion. You are forcing someone to do something by threatening him that you will commit suicide if he doesn't do that thing. It is covered by coercion. Next, consensus ad idem is an essential of. Consensus ad idem is an essential of. Number 1, agreement. Number 2, promise. Both A and B, consideration. Guys, it is agreement. Consensus ad idem means meeting of minds of two parties. And meeting of minds is a must thing for an agreement. An agreement cannot take place unless and until meeting of mind happens. So the correct answer is A, agreement. 150. Agreement which are not contracts. A, social matters. B, relating to partnership. C, domestic agreements. D, both A and C. So guys, social matters will become contract if there is an intention to sue, if there is a legal intention. But relating to partnerships, no agreements can become contract. Partnership agreement, it's not a partnership contract. So in case of partnership, agreement cannot become a contract, but in case of social matters it can, and domestic agreement also it can become a part of a contract. But in case of partnerships, the agreements cannot become a contract. Okay sir, got it. Question number 151. Offerer is. So what is an offerer? Party making the offer, third party, party to whom offer is made, none of the above. Guys, of course, party making an offer, answer is A. Which one is not a type of offer? Which one of these is not a type of offer? Let's see. Specific offer, general offer, open offer, temporary offer. Guys, the answer is temporary offer. We have heard about specific, generic and open offers, but temporary offer is no such offer in Contract Act. 153. cross offer is, so what is cross offer? Termination of original offer, rejection of original offer, both A and C, none of these, obviously termination of original offer. When you make a cross offer, the original offer terminates, it gets rescinded automatically. Next, offer can be revoked. How can offer be revoked, guys? Before its acceptance, before accepting the offer, you can revoke it. By withdrawal of acceptance, when you withdraw the acceptance, then you can revoke it. Both A and B, none of the above, guys, before its acceptance. So whenever you want to revoke the offer, you can revoke it till it is accepted. When it's accepted, it's done and dusted. You cannot then do anything about it. So the answer is A. Which one is mode of contract? Contract by post? Yes, sir. This is very much a mode of contract. By SMS? No. Indian Contract Act doesn't recognize SMS contracts. It doesn't recognize internet contracts. By none of the above. So the answer is A. Contract by post is a valid contract. Quid pro quo means meeting of minds, something in return, to do something, promise. Answer is something in return. You have to equally exchange something. So if you promise to do something for other person, you have to get something back as well. So this is quid pro quo. 157. No consideration, no contract is true, false, can't say, partly true. Answer is true. If there is no contract, then there is, if there is no consideration, then there cannot be any contract. Under English law, consideration may move from promiser, stranger, C, both A and D, D, promisee. Answer is promisee. So in English law, guys, even promisee can move the consideration. However, in Indian law, the consideration can only be moved by promiser. In English law, promisee can also move the consideration. Okay, sir. 159. Under the doctrine of privity of contract. What is privity of contract? It means that the party to the contract can only be sue for the contract. Only the parties to the contract can actually be sued or taken to court for the breach of contract. So this is known as privity of contract. Under the doctrine of privity of contract, third party can A, sue, cannot sue, C, both A and B, D, none of these. Guys, the answer is cannot sue. So third party cannot sue in case of privity of contract, but yes, for consideration, third party can sue. The answer is B. And the last one for this session, which one is odd? Agreement may not result in a contract. This is true, guys. Agreement, if not enforceable, it will not result in contract. This is true. B, contract constitutes an agreement. This is also true, guys, that a contract has to be an agreement. So this is also true. Contract creates legal relationship. Yes, of course, contract creates legal relationship. This is also true. So the correct answer is none of these. None of these is odd. All are even. Okay, sir. So the correct answer is D. Okay, so this was our session on MCQs, guys, and we'll be meeting in our next session for the rest MCQs. And of course, the MCQ compilation is already with you. If not, then please see the description box below and you can download the MCQs from the description box. Okay, so we'll meet in our next video with respect to MCQs, and exams are fast approaching, so it's high time that you should speed up your preparation, and MCQ should be revised at least 3 to 4 times before you appear in the examination. So till the next video, all the very best and happy studying.